Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode here on the Life Signatures Radio. It's a very interesting and long series, actually. It's going to be more than 20 episodes. In these episodes, we are talking about life nuggets, powerful life nuggets that accrued from an interview somewhere in 2020, February, that Mike Tyson had with this mogul podcasting champion called Joe Rogan. It's quite a controversial figure, an independent thought leader, an independent thinker, who at some point in time was in the crosshairs of the powers that be because of his stand on vaccines and on his stand on COVID and so on and so forth. The things that he was saying about COVID were not politically correct, and so they looked at him, they wanted to deplatform him, they wanted to silence him and so on. So this guy has an interview with Iron Mike Tyson, and they're talking about a wide range of ideas, a wide range of things, especially in Mike Tyson's life, given that that moment in time Mike Tyson was going back to the ring after decades outside, and he was 54 years of age. What did we learn from that? A lot. And I packaged them into 19 powerful life nuggets. Some of them you already know, but it's interesting if you hear them from the mouth of Mike Tyson. Let us look at one more today. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Oh yes, so welcome once again to this episode. We will do a recap for you, and I've kept singing this song and I'll sing it again. Please go back 20 episodes back, or 20 episodes back, and start just looking through and see where we've come from so that you can be able to learn these things one at a time. The first nugget of life that we got from that interview is fear. Internal fear can be unfounded. 2, appreciate the power of starting small. 3, the importance of your people. 4, be alert to recognize the moment to confront your conditioning. 5, allow the pull of life to respond to your push. 6, the difference between conditioning and being in shape. 7, impossible is nothing to someone that tries. 8, practice. 9, find something that you can do but not for money. 10, know and respect your opponent. 11, create a champion's age. 12, learn to change with the times. 13, build a structure. 14, have a coach. Today, 15, very importantly, know yourself. The odds that Mike Tyson was facing were very interesting to make his comeback into the ring in 2020 when he was fighting Roy Jones Jr. Tyson was 54, retired from boxing 15 years prior, nearly 1.5 decades. He only started training that year in March 2020, and he started not for fighting. He started just to get in shape. Roy Jones Jr. only retired from boxing a little over 2 years before this fight in 2018. The odds can never be that interesting. I mean, we see how it's next to impossible for Mike Tyson to have a shot at this. But he did. At the end of the day, when the curtain came to a close of that fight, it was declared a draw. What a performance from Mike Tyson at 54 years of age, fighting someone who had just retired 2 years. He had retired a decade and a half. My goodness. So in that interview with Joe Rogan, he says, know yourself. From the get-go, let me just say this, the highest form of knowledge you can ever have is the knowledge of the Almighty. I got you. You thought I was going to say the knowledge of yourself. It is the knowledge of the Almighty. But listen to this. The second to that, it is the knowledge of the self. These things that we have knowledge about, nuclear physics, the atom, we split the atom. I mean, we want to find out what is the composition of the DNA, how much, what is wood made up of, how much carbon is there in the atmosphere. That's general information. The most potent information that you can have, intimate knowledge about yourself. Life could be that simple. That simple. But in between those bodies of knowledge, there is so much else that we can accrue in life. The highest, I repeat, the highest form of knowledge you can ever know is the knowledge of the Almighty. And second to that is the knowledge of the self. Unfortunately for us, we find out many other formulas in life but fail to understand these two. We go and we get degrees in many other things, but we don't have a degree in any one of these two. Okay, of course, you never have a degree in God intimately. Listen carefully here. Theology is not knowing God. It is knowing about God. Knowing God doesn't need you to be educated in any way. And then there is this knowledge of knowing yourself, the intimate self. We keep moving from one knowledge body to another. We read books upon books upon books. Lamarck's theory, Pythagoras' theorem and all that stuff. Moving in circles all our lives because the body of knowledge that we're using is lacking. And the worst that you can see of a human being is that guy who does not know himself or herself well enough. There is no clarity. Tony Robbins tells us that clarity is power. And that's important to note. When asked about this, Mike Tyson was asked, can you coach? That's Joe Rogan asking him, are you able to become a coach? No, yesterday we talked about coaching. He said no. Outrightly, he just said no. It takes a special personality. You have to be a mother, a father, a psychiatrist, a dietitian. It's just so many hats you've got to wear being a trainer. That's really overwhelming for me and my personality. End quote. He knew about himself. He said he cannot coach. Knowledge about the self tends to give you several benefits. Number one is focus. When I know that I'm a man of words, I focus there. I don't go looking for science because I'm not a man of science. Perhaps one of the greatest assets for personal development and growth is the potential that we have, and if we can focus on that potential. But if you do not know who you are, you do not know what your potential is, you do not get focused, you will be swept around by every wind of doctrine that comes, and in the end, people lose respect for you. You are nobody. Focus, you're not focused on anything. You don't represent anything. You don't stand for anything. You don't exude anything. You're not focused on nothing. The second aspect that is an advantage for people who know themselves is structure. We talked about structure some 2 or 3 days back. Structure is something that is important only comes to the people who have clarity and knowledge. You can't build structure without having knowledge. Knowing who you are provides a foundation upon which you can build a structure for your life. You know what to focus on, you know what to remove, you know what to improve, and so on. That's much needed structure props up as a champion. It props you up as a champion at the end of the day. And thirdly, one of those things that you get from knowing yourself is company. Knowing who you are helps you to find out who can be in your company, who can be in your inner circle, whom you can just hold at arm's length. If you are a teacher, for example, you do not keep company with people who hate knowledge, who don't read. And believe me, there are very many people out there. That's why sometimes I hear people saying, and it's true, I had one of my friends, Robert Burale, saying he doesn't have very many friends. More than one? It's interesting. You tell me you have 10 friends? These guys who form your company are guys that come in there because of clarity of who you really are, what you represent, what you're passionate about, where you are going actually. So the lesson number 15 that we're learning today, even as we come to a close of this episode, get full clarity of your strengths and let your life revolve around those. Stop trying to do everything. You know, Christians somebody say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That scripture is out of context because the context is not about doing things. The context is about being in a state of poverty and in a state of lack. In a state of abundance all at the same time, and being okay with either state. That's what the context is. It's not that you can become a doctor, an engineer, an artist, a preacher, an evangelist. You cannot do all those things. God is not an author of confusion. Tomorrow, we're going to continue with the nugget number 16, even as we have started winding up on these episodes. But until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.